Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. We are here with the start of the first iRacing Championship in 2026. We've got some multi-class action with some GT3s and some GT4s. Qualifying's just beginning with the GT3, so we'll get you out there in a moment. But welcome, everybody. Hope you all had a wonderful New Year. And yeah, let's get this started. Let's get this year off to a good start. We are here at the Red Bull Ring, taking a look at currently on board with Frederick Goupil, who is currently on provisional pole in GT3, sitting with a 130.9. Now I would expect these times will be getting faster. They were in the 29s in practice. But as many of you likely know, we do have pretty significant cold tire effect. So given these guys are mostly on, he's showing his second lap. Some of them are still on their first. Most of them are either on their first or second. And yeah, those tires are not going to be fully up to temp and giving their fastest times likely until your third, maybe fourth lap. So we'll see how things continue to advance as we look around at some of the people out here right now. McLaren of Jacob Magnowski. Colin Johnson. Oh, potentially having an issue. Pulling off. All right. Josh Willis sporting our wonderful number boards and banners on the Taco Bell 911 Porsche, as he is right on the tail of Frederick Goupil. Little interesting choice there. It's certainly not ideal to be that close to somebody for your lap time. You know, aero wash is definitely going to have an effect, but you know, this is a small track. It's possible it's just a major struggle out there to actually get any clean air. And I think that's a bit wide, and that's likely a lap invalidated. We'll see. It was not. That was clean, and Josh Willis goes to the top with a 130.01. Cody Wassam jumps up to second in the McLaren. 0.14 of a second back, which pushes Frederick Goupil down to third, and he's now in the pits. So I don't know if he's going to try and go again, or maybe he just feels he got what he got, but that's a bit of time still remaining. So we look further down the list, see lots of returning faces, very exciting. Some new ones as well. I don't believe we've seen Declan Fu before. You know, yell at me if that's the wrong pronunciation. But he's out here in the 911 with the classic car mat, bringing lots of nostalgia back for those of us 90s kids. Oh, that is a very brightly colored Corvette. Whose Corvette is that? Not either of those two. Not that one? Weird. I now can't see it. Okay. Nope, I found it. Woo, that is quite the colorful design there on John Bourgette's car. He's currently sitting on a 134.81, so a little bit far back, but plenty of time for improvement yet. He'll probably get at least one more lap, if not two. These laps are pretty short here. So we look around and see who else out here. Josh appears to still potentially be on a lap. Colin Johnson in fourth also is. But yeah, so we are currently 8 minutes into this session, and the GT3s have 10 minutes to get their times in. So as long as you start your lap before that clock says 10 minutes, you are good to go. As we see Colin Johnson starting another lap. Also, a couple people we're looking at that have hopped up from GT4 to GT3. We've got Jacob Magnowski jumping up. He's currently in the 54 McLaren. Brad Sievers also making the move up in the, as he hits the wall, the 83 Lamborghini. Mike Pico in the 42 Mercedes, also making the jump. Corey Fortner jumping up in the 31 McLaren. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how those quote-unquote promotions get on with the new challenge that is moving from GT4 to GT3. As he pulls off. No improvement there. Let's see. Josh Willis still looking to potentially improve, although he is currently on provisional pole, and be surprised to see too many more people jump up. Adam King has just crossed the line and appears to be pulling off. As yes, time has elapsed, so now in the background you see some of the GT4s are starting to pull out on track. They are allowed to leave at the 10-minute mark as Mike Pico crosses the line, improves one spot at the cost of Brad Sievers, up to 13th in class. And is there anybody else on the lap? Jacob Magnowski.
Good save, William.
Sitting in 9th. Ooh. Sorry, folks. 1 second. I forgot to turn off voice chat audio. We don't want to hear them. Alright, that's it for GT3. So as we hop on with one of the GT4 cars in Chris McNichol, just give you a quick rundown in the GT3 standings before we start seeing GT4 times come in. Josh Willis on pole, there with a 130.01, followed by Cody Wassam with a 130.15. Third place is the 69 of Joel Bandera with a 130.16, so just a hundredth of a second between the two. Jacob Magnowski in fourth with a 130.2. Fifth place goes to Frederick Goupel in the Audi at a 130.23. Sixth place is Jeff Dallas with a 130.33. Seventh place is the 176 of Colin Johnson with a 130.36. Eighth is Adam King with a 130.5. Ninth is Declan Fu with a 130.58. And rounding out the top 10 is Bronson Turner with a 130.97. So, good stuff. That's a top 10 all within a second. It's very impressive. Should make for good racing. However, on we go. GT4. Let's see who's going to be first through. It looks like first through is going to be Jacob Cunningham in the bright pink number 27 Aston Martin. They'll be very upset I called it pink and not magenta, but oops. Braking for the final corner. Track's part of the way out. You can get decently wide, but as we will likely see, track limits will be a major factor in this race. No question about it. There are a lot of places where it's very easy to extend and quickly find yourself in trouble for too many violations over that line. As it looks like in the people who set laps, Jacob Cunningham did not get one. However, Chris McNichol did, sitting on 139.07, followed by Tyler Laranjo with a 139.3. Now again, these times are going to get quicker. It's similar in GT4 to GT3 where you do have tire warm-up. Now, GT4s will warm up quicker than GT3 will, and you likely are going to be able to get full push on your second flying lap as opposed to your third. So they will get more laps at full pace than the GT3s did. But they can be a little trickier to drive, as we see an army of Mustangs out here. It seems to currently be the car of choice for a number of our competitors, as well as the Porsche. That's about even between the Porsche and the Ford. So we look through and see... Let's see... As Jacob Cunningham moves to the top with a 138.25. Next across the line is Chris McNichol, who improves to 138.54, but jumping both of them is William Campbell with a 137.8. So that's a 4/10 gap back to Jacob Cunningham in that Mercedes with the flames on it. Now some of them were saying in some of the preseason testing, the Mercedes is pretty strong in GT4. But that is a impressive lap time nonetheless. So we look through and let's see who else we have. Lane Vindel just set their first clean lap at a 146.2, so a bit of time to look for. Jay Mady also with a 139.8, but has returned to the pits. Manuel Ramirez has just crossed the line with a 139.3 on their first flyer. Look back and see as Jacob comes through. Second to last corner, extending out as much as you dare. It's the risk versus reward in these last two corners. Would have expected to see more of the track used there, but maybe this isn't currently a flyer for him. About a 10th off, so kind of. Chris McNichol crosses, also does not improve. William Campbell does, though. Probably about a 10th, I think it was. Yeah, about a 10th, now has almost half a second on Jacob Cunningham. So strong performance so far in qualifying. James Martin here, coming through the third sector, has yet to set a lap time, is in the middle of his second flyer. I think he's okay out that wide. Again, pushing wide, but where you want to be, not excessively. Let's see, he crosses the line. Do we have a time? No time yet. Alright, we're getting close now. You know, you really need to start thinking about making sure if you haven't gotten a clean lap yet, you know, maybe you take a little bit of heat off of it in the corners where you're struggling. But we'll see. So we were on board with Peter Hitzman, also working on his second flyer right now, yet to have a clean time on the board. That looks more like what I would expect from Jacob Cunningham through the final corner. And he crosses the line. Sets a 138.05. So brings that gap down a little bit to Campbell. But Chris McNichol behind him pulls out a 137.9 to pull up into second place, and he's calling it. That's all he thinks he has. So about 3/10 separating the top three, and now Tyler Laranjo bumps up and also heads to the pits. He jumps up into 4th with a 138.5. About half a second off Cunningham. Peter Hitzman sets a time. He gets in a 140.5. As he does still have the opportunity to go again. He did cross the line before the time expired, so he can keep pushing. James Martin also did get a lap in that time with a 140.1. About 2.3 off. But may catch some traffic with that Porsche up ahead. We'll see. We'll see how that gap's looking. As I said, Red Bull Ring, not a long track. So the gaps are going to be tight. And in the race, it is going to, I would expect that it will make for a very busy race. We'll be looking at a lot of cars in a small space, and some of the lap is very quick as well, which makes it so that the track, for its already short length, feels even shorter. Oh, hydrate? Shoot. Do I even have one on here? Oh, yeah, I do have a bottle. So we see Lane Vindel rounding the final corner out onto the front straight. Do they have any improvement in that? He does improve his fast lap, but not his position. As Peter Hitzman has improved his laps. He's gotten to a 139.3 and moves up into 6th place. Jacob Cunningham potentially still out on a lap here. Entering the 3rd sector, definitely pushing. Oh, that's on the limit. Nope. Oh, and into the end of the pit wall after that extension. So, not sure if he was pushing to finish the lap or just having some fun with it. But that's it for GT4, and that's it for qualifying. So, GT4 on pole is the 364 of William Campbell, followed by 2nd with Chris McNichol in the 32 Porsche. 3rd place is Jacob Cunningham in the 27 Aston Martin. 4th place is Emmanuel Ramirez in the 33 Porsche. 5th is Tyler Laranjo in the number 10 Mercedes. And the first of the Mustangs is Peter Zitzman in 6th place in the 92. So there we have it. As we get a lovely shot of the Red Bull at the Red Bull Ring. We're beginning to grid now. Few people on quicker than others. As we watch them slowly begin to populate in. So like I said, some big things we're going to be looking for are traffic. There's not a ton of GT4s, but as we saw last season, you know, getting close to them, you can lose a ton of time if you're not able to dispatch with them quickly. Being caught for more than a corner or two can really, really hurt your chances in a battle. But at the same time, if you're too aggressive and make contact, you know, not only are you risking penalty, but you're risking your car as well. You could make that contact and suddenly you're in the fence. So, you know, traffic's going to be a big deal. There's a lot of fast corners here. Really it's going to test people on their commitment to the corner, but, you can't overcommit. Or, you know, you were talking about track limits. They've got 15 incident points before they'll be at a drive-through, and then there's a drive-through every 7 after that. And you can really rack those up quickly at a track like Red Bull Ring. So the drivers will need to be very, very conscious of that. As there begins the pace car rolling, and off the grid is your pole sitter of Josh Willis in the 22992 Porsche. It's a pretty good mix of cars in the field, really. Seeing the Porsche, Aston, McLaren, Audi, Corvette, some Lamborghinis, BMWs. Gotta be missing something, but right now I'm blanking on what that is. So here we are. As you see the weaving around, trying to get some tire heat in. You know, these GT3s are tough on their out laps, and now first lap as well can be a little bit of a dance to try and get there and make sure that you are good to go. Looking back at the GT4s, them doing the same thing. Your pole sitter, William Campbell, weaving around, trying to get heat in those tires as they get ready to go green. Now getting through sector 2. This is a tricky corner here. It's very easy to invite yourself for a dive bomb and then slide wide and push the car off, as many infamous incidents in F1 at this track have happened there. And well, I don't expect GTs to be too different on that front. But hopefully... Yes, that is a Taco Bell livery for Willis again, bringing it back. But yeah, hopefully we're in for a clean race, some close runs. As we're now into the third sector, the safety car lights are out. It will be peeling off into the pits this time by, and we will be getting ready to go green for the first iRacing round of 2026. Through the second to last corner. Somewhat 2x2 here. Decently quickly. It looks like Josh Willis is on it before even the green flag, and here we go. Josh Willis gets an excellent run down the front straight and is going to be uncontested into turn 1 by either of the McLarens behind. As it looks like Joel Bandera lost a couple spots on that. Look back to GT4. Oh, there they pop in. As, very good start for Chris McNichol. Gets a good run, but William Campbell's challenging him back, is in third place. Ooh, there's a touch. The 33 of Emmanuel Ramirez is around, and there's contact in the back with one of the Mustangs. Oh, that is unfortunate to have such a good qualifying and then end up back there. Now, we do have a fast repair, so that is not day done by any stretch of the imagination. But that is definitely going to hurt, for sure. So we go back up front to the GT3 lead. Josh is largely uncontested. We go back down into the field. Colin Johnson's got Adam King looking all over, trying to see if he can find a way by, but nothing doing yet. Ooh, a little bit of brake on the exit. Might have gotten a run and just not had anywhere to go with it. You really do understeer a lot through that corner. Trying to just get the nose in can be a challenge quite often. Back down through the field. Mike Pico looking at the back of Morgan Stringer in the BMW. As through lap 1 we go, and I think I don't think there was any issues whatsoever in GT3. I think that all 22 cars that started made it through lap 1 cleanly. Well done, gentlemen. Well done. Looking back to GT4, Chris McNichol pulling out about a half-second lead over Jacob Cunningham's Aston Martin on the first lap, but William Campbell's right there as well. Your pole sitter lost 2 spots, and he's going to be looking to get those back as quickly as possible here, as the top 3 pull away a little bit from 4th place of Peter Hitzman. Back up in GT3 land, we have Jeff Dallas looking at the back of Bronson Turner, trying to find a way by that M4, as that M4 is actually also looming large in the rearview mirror of Adam King. And Adam King's a little slow, and Bronson Turner's making the move on the outside. Is Jeff Dallas going to come with him? He does. 2 spots lost for Adam King through that sequence. Jeff Dallas then looking for the outside on Bronson Turner, but nothing doing there. There's a couple cars running wide, and it's some early usage of your X's, guys. Don't want to do too many. So it looks like now that Bronson Turner's through on the Corvettes, he's going to be looking to try and move forward towards the likes of Colin Johnson and Joel Bandera. Side by side back behind them we have Mike Pico and Morgan Stringer side by side into turn 3. A little bit of a squeeze on exit, but safely through. They are still side by side as we're headed down towards turn 4 now. Mike Pico on the outside, making it work in 3. Can he make it work in 4? Looks like it on entry, but then just gets a little bit of understeer in the mid-range, and Morgan Stringer is able to pull back through and keep the place for now. But I don't think this battle is over. Mike Pico looks like he really, really wants to move up. Brad Seaver's also in the background, kind of looking ahead. A little bit shallower of an entry into the second to last corner than the 2 behind him, but he does stay on track, whereas Mike Pico may have just pulled an off track there. And again, very on the limit there. Not sure if those were or weren't, but you know, you don't want to be doing that too much. So you look around, see who's close. Look back at the GT4s, and in fact, Jacob Cunningham has made it past Chris McNichol. Unfortunately, we missed that overtake, but these 3 are still really close together right now. Now, I heard them discussing pre-race what they were going to do about tires, and I think they've got some tough choices ahead of them from what they were saying. Tires on the GT4s basically take their full fuel capacity for the limits that we have, and they're not going to be taking that full amount in the race because they aren't going to use enough to need a full tank. So they either have to lose time taking the tires or only take 2. Now, what they choose to do, we'll see. I don't think anything happened to Willis. I think it's a draw car issue. Let me take a look. Where is he? Nope, he is leading, although he has Cody Wassam all over the back of him, looking for P1. That is still very tight. And he takes a bit of a defensive line through 1. Looks like he gets a little bit of a slow run through it, and Cody Wassam is looking. He looks like he's got the run. He moves out to the left side. Josh takes the defensive on the inside. They're alongside in the braking zone, but nothing happening is, oh no! Jacob Magnowski gets to the nose in, and I don't think Cody Wassam realized he was there. Trying to Jacob Magnowski trying to take advantage and just little bit of contact, rotates Wassam around a bit. Obviously they got going relatively quickly. Is right behind as well. We have these two battling in the back there. We also have Joel Bandera and Colin Johnson side by side. Colin Johnson getting the move done on Joel Bandera. But back up ahead, that battle is not done between Cody Wassam and Jacob Magnowski. As a flash of the lights from Cody Wassam. I doubt he's very happy being overtaken right this second. As both run a little bit wide through the gravel, that's going to pull some gravel on and could be a little chaotic for those behind, as there's going to be a little bit of reduced grip from that gravel being dragged up onto the track. That is very wide. That is definitely an extra X. So we'll see. We will see how this plays out with that. Like I said, I expect to see drive-throughs. You know, I don't think they're going to be able to. Not everybody is going to escape. However, this battle is really letting Josh Willis run away right now, as Jacob Magnowski is now on the defensive into turn 3. Wassam on the outside. Ooh, a little bit of rubbing, a little bit of pushing. That's spicy. Oh no, around again. Oh, there's no love lost in that battle, as Frederick Goupel takes advantage of the two of them fighting and moves up into second place. Just a quick check-in back with GT4. William Campbell's made it around Chris McNichol. So after that great start from McNichol, he is now back down to third. But still right there. They're covered by less than a second and a half. And that'll tighten up as well, I'm sure, when the two of them behind recover from the battle that they, I'm sure, had getting through there. So we go back up to GT3, Josh Willis out in the lead. And Jacob Magnowski still in third, and I'm sure Cody Wassam, ooh, that's a battle behind, as Joel Bandera with some pressure from behind from Bronson Turner, as also was likely affected by GT4 traffic through all that. As I'm sure also we are getting relatively close to the back of the GT4s with the GT3s. Yes, 7th place in lane. 8th and Emmanuel Ramirez is already being overtaken. Lane Vindel in 7th has the field probably within the next 2 laps, I would say, is going to start catching him. And then Jay and this bunch are probably another 3-4-ish laps ahead of that for the GT3s catching. But once those GT3s catch an actual line of GT4s, their life gets so much harder and will very quickly start causing them to have some movement, and traffic will giveth, traffic will taketh away, and then they're really not going to be happy to catch this battle, because these guys are going to hold them up. Jacob Cunningham, William Campbell, and Christopher McNichol will all be battling. They're worried about their race. They're not obligated to get out of the way of GT3. They just can't defend. So the GT3s are going to have a challenge, to say the least. So we move back ahead, and Cody Wassam is now through on Jacob Magnowski. Unfortunately, we missed that. Sorry, guys. And Cody's going to be looking forwards towards Frederick to see if he can pull back time on him now that he's through. He was behind them before that battle and is not going to be happy to be, and is going to have to worry about them wanting to catch back up. Well, that's an interesting little cluster of cars, as we've got Patrick Rich getting chased by Tyler Smith and Leo Polanco. Patrick Smith moves out to overtake the GT4, then back to the right side to be defensive into 3. Tyler Smith around the outside, but nope, does not have it. A little compromised on exit. It's going to give Patrick Rich a little bit of breathing space. So Leo's staying right there, just waiting. Any little slip up, he'll be all over it. Forward in the field, see who's got what. This top 10 is strong right now with keeping each other honest, keeping it challenging. Ooh, that is very wide for Bronson Turner's. Oh, what was that? Ah, overtaking a GT4. All right. So we look back at our current leader, Josh Willis. Now, for reference for everybody, we do run limited fuel. So we have 65% for the GT3s and 75% for the GT4s. So there are no required pit stops. However, you are not making it in either class on that amount of fuel. It's just not happening. So you will have to do a pit stop. And that's why I was discussing earlier the tire choice. You know, do you feel like you want... Have you burned up your tires? Have you had any issues? Ooh, that is a lot of gravel that you do not want to be running through, as we see Josh Willis avoiding it. Go back through the field. Bronson Turner appears to have fallen a bit off the back of Colin Johnson. What happened? Adam King's fallen back a bit as well. I'm not sure what happened to Jeff Dallas. And he's dropped back. I'm not sure why. We didn't see that. But oops. As now Patrick Rich has caught up a bit to Evan Laranjo. Going through the final corner, enters the second to last corner a little wider, but also runs a little wider. As Patrick Rich is definitely pushing hard, trying to find just any little bit he can to try and get a run on Evan. They're very close through turn 1. Now this run up to turn 3 is one of the bigger opportunities to get draft and get a move done, but it doesn't quite look like the Porsche's got the legs this lap. Look ahead is Cody Wassam is in fact catching up to the back of Frederick Gruppel in that Audi as here we go. Here that first line of GT4 traffic as Frederick looks to the inside, doesn't make the move, then does. That definitely hung him up a bit, as he's going to be hung up again behind Jay Mady. Now gets through, but definitely lost a lot of time. However, Cody Wassam does not look like he's going to make it through the whole line and is going to get held up a little bit in the second to last corner. Jacob Magnowski now looking for a way by after that hang-up. Now, I say they're in the way, and it is true that they are quote-unquote in the way. However, the GT4s have no obligation to move out of the way. Their only obligation is not to defend. They have every right to take their space. The GT3s have to find their way cleanly by. As we look just ahead of them as, a little bit of a rough run out of there for Jacob Cunningham, has William Campbell looking at the back of him as the leaders in GT3 come up. Now this is the battle that they do not want to see. They do not want to see GT4 side by side, because that makes their already tough job of getting by even tougher. The first one coming through is going to be your leader, Josh Willis. And this is a part of the track where the GT3s are going to be much faster than the GT4s. They just have that extra downforce. They have the extra tire. This is where they're making the biggest chunk of their lap time advantage over the GT4s, is this section of track right here. As Josh Willis gets by the first two, he's not going to get Jacob Cunningham though. And that will slightly separate the GT4 the GT4s, although he's going to get held up a little bit in the final corner and push them back together. As they cross the line, Josh crossing for the beginning of his 11th lap this race. Back behind, Frederick Gruppel's getting alongside Chris McNichol, and that really held him up, and that held both of them up. And Cody's looking like he's going to try and make a move. They are side by side. But, oh, and Cody, little bit of a rub as he goes by, kind of pinning him behind William Campbell, who dives a bit out of the way. Does not want any parts of that chaos that is the second, third, fourth battle that's coming through. As Jacob Cunningham stays to the left, now moves onto the line as his prerogative, and two cars come through. Yeah, that will not have felt good in the cockpit of that GT4 as those guys worked their way through. That was definitely a bit squeaky bum time, but they all made it through. As Jacob Magnowski also looking to make the move on Frederick Gruppel. He's almost stuck behind the GT4, but makes it work. Retains the place for the moment. See the flashing lights of Bronson Turner on those GT4s as he's also making his way through a little farther back. He's gotten a bit separated from the people around him, but will be wanting to rectify that, and getting through the GT4s quicker than those cars around him is part of the key to doing so, as he moves in line to try and get a little bit of draft, any little bit that helps, before popping back out to overtake your leader at GT4 of Jacob Cunningham. Frederick Gruppel still keeping Jacob Magnowski behind for now. Look back and see. As the GT4s are overtaking a lap car in their class, also being overtaken by the 42 of Mike Pico. Yeah, there's a lot going on. As I said, now that we're into traffic, as the fields continue to spread out, there will be somebody experiencing traffic everywhere on this track, every lap from now on. And that's part of the joy of multi-class racing. You've got to manage it the best that you can. Just try and get through. And avoid the chaos as best as you can. Try and see who's in a battle right now. Well, really, this is one of the closest. Jacob Magnowski looks like he has the pace. A little flick of the wiper, maybe clean some rubber off of the windshield of that car. I'm sure he's getting a fair bit of it being so up close behind the Audi of Frederick Gruppel. Cody Rossum hasn't quite cleared off as much as I think he'd like. He's pulled a little less than a second right now, as up front Josh has a nice gap of about 3.5 seconds at this stage that he's working on. Certainly not comfortable, but probably feels good to have at least. Back down the field, let's see who else has got battles going on. Adam King's moderately close to the back of the BMW of Morgan Stringer. I believe that battle's been ongoing for quite a while at this stage. Adam King not really been able to make any headway, but also not losing time at this point. Patrick Rich has made his way by Evan Laranjo at some stage, as they're overtaking William Campbell in the GT4. As out pops Tyler Smith to overtake William Campbell. Behind him, Leo Polanco also making his way by. Ooh, there go. That's Tyler Smith overtaking Evan Laranjo. Likely got held up behind Jacob Cunningham through the final corner. Those GT4s don't have quite the same pace as the Mercedes are now somewhat side by side. And wide goes Evan. Big bump off of that sausage curb. That is not a sausage curb you really want to be using if you can help it. Leo still looking. Moves out wide and throws the dive into turn 3. Keeps it down to the apex. Kind of leaves space. Nope, does not leave enough space on exit, and there's contact between Leo Polanco and Evan Laranjo. That is not how I wanted to see that battle ending. It looked so good up to that point. As actually, there's now William Campbell looking to the inside of Jacob Cunningham for the lead of GT4. Definitely some traffic assisting there to get to them to that point. Now getting held up. Now William Campbell getting held up by the Porsche. I'm not sure. Oh, makes not a great call on attempting an overtake there, and goes around. I'm not sure who that was. I believe that was Austin Pitts. Yeah, it was a little bit of a tight gap to try and put a nose in. And unfortunately, around he goes, and we'll have to make up some time there. Let's head back up to the lead as Cody Wassam is on the back of a lap car working his way through. Did I miss Magnowski through the pits? There's potential. There's potential that we are on the absolute limit of. Why don't I see him? That we are on the absolute limit of when you can pit to make it through. I'm not seeing him at all. He must have had a more significant issue. Huh. Anyway, flash of the lights of Frederick Gruppel as he's trying to work his way past what I'm guessing is Jacob Kaminsky's, who's now down a lap to the overall. Let's see, who do we have that is close? Oops, not that. Oh, this is an interesting battle we've got going in GT4s. Actually, I believe Peter Hitzman has overtaken Tyler Laranjo. Oh, we do? Brothers, potentially? Have to find out. They're battling away. This has been the second battle pack in the GT4 class. It's been a little calmer than the first. They've mostly been following each other, but it's getting a little more exciting here. Potentially some traffic pushing it that way as Tyler Laranjo looks to the inside of Jay Mady. They're side by side through the second to last corner. It's a tricky corner to do it cleanly, but they do. Still side by side in the final corner. And Jay Mady gets the run off the corner. It's much easier to take that wider line and turn that into a run, as now Peter Hitzman is looking to the inside into turn 1, maybe thinking he can take advantage of that slow exit. They both slow heavily towards the apex, as the corner is much slower when you're side by side and can't take the optimal line. They're still side by side, heading up through wherever turn 2 is per Red Bull Ring. I don't know. Not really a turn. Up to turn 3, and Peter Hitzman is through. Yes, I will make a number of people mad when I say Road America, turns 2 and 4, also not real turns. But there's a number there, and they're somewhere in there, so call the rest of them accurately as these two roll through what they call turn 4, with Peter Hitzman ahead. Check out the lead group. Lead group's still status quo for what it's been for the last probably 15, 20-ish minutes now. Definitely a bit wide there. Yeah, I don't think Magnowski had a drive-through. I think he's just gone. I do not see him. Somebody saying 12, 13, 14? Oh, that moved around. Sorry. So it looks here like Patrick Rich potentially catching the back here of Brad Sievers, who are also about to catch the back of a GT4 car. Definitely holding Sievers up a little bit there. Defends the inside. Sievers goes around the outside, as does Patrick Rich, as does Tyler Smith. No real plus or minus for any of them. They all kind of equally were harmed by that one. So looking forward, Cody Wassum's last lap. He set the fastest lap of the race by, oh, good 2/10 at least. Looking at a, sorry about that. Looking at fast lap of a 1:29.9 for Cody Wassum, so he is catching up a bit to Josh Willis. Now Josh still has about 2.5 seconds, so nothing for him to be too concerned about yet. But that's not ideal. Not ideal to be getting caught. Go back to this, as this has definitely gotten closer, as Patrick Rich is looking to the inside of Brad Sievers into turn 4. Brad Sievers leaves room. Oh, leaves a little bit too much room as he runs wide. Now has Tyler Smith also looking at the back of him, potentially wanting to try and find another place. Now Brad is currently 3 places up from his qualifying, so he is on a positive run right now, but does not want to lose places. Patrick Rich is actually potentially our biggest mover at +9. That's an impressive run. Potentially just struggling with track limits and qualifying, but hey, still impressive to work your way through. So we check back in with the GT4 lead battle. William Campbell's still right there, looking to the inside through turn 6, I believe. Should know these a little better. Ooh, do we have some pitters? We do. Josh Willis currently exiting the pits. Evan Laranjo's also in. Corey Fortner's also in. So now Cody Wassum is your current leader on pit cycle. So they'll start to get interesting. As I was saying earlier, we do have limited fuel, and I would say with about halfway in the race, now's when you're really thinking about it. You know, some people might decide to jump early if, you know, you're stuck behind somebody, or if that person pits before you do, maybe you try and extend and just get offset from your rivals with the pit stop and see if you can't get in and out quicker. Obviously, that carries risk. You know, you don't want that speeding penalty. That speeding penalty absolutely kills you, especially here. You can lose so much time so quickly to it. As William Campbell's been looking around, but doesn't quite seem to have a way by yet. Look back and see. Tyler Smith runs a little wide through there. See, who else do we have that is close together? These are some of our closest right now. Although, lead isn't too far. Oh. Timing said it wasn't. I was lied to. Colin Smith back there stalking Frederick Gruppel a little bit. So the interesting thing to watch for now is going to be, when does Cody pit? When does he choose to pit? When does Frederick choose to pit? And how does their timing work out compared to Josh? You know, how aggressive are you getting down to the speed? How aggressive are you through the pit exit here? Pit exit here is really sketchy. You see it right there in the background as Cody Wassum goes by. You've got an Armco barrier right there, right next to where you want to be, and one little mistake and that, you know, that's really going to ding you. You do not want to damage your car and have to go back down pit lane. As right now we're looking at Morgan Stringer looking at the back of Adam King. A little onboard action, although those turbo flutter as it down in the... That is sounding a little strange. I don't like that. But he's staying close. Looking for any little way by. Little wide there. Might have lost a little bit of speed on exit. As Brad Severs heads into the pits. Adam King also in the pits. There's a GT4 in the pits in the background there. Oh, and somewhere along the line we've missed it. I apologize. Jacob Cunningham has lost the place to William Campbell. Not sure if that was traffic assisted or pace. William Campbell looked like he was threatening for a bit, but hadn't quite found the spot yet. So none of the top 5 or 6 in GT5 and GT4 have pit yet. So look for them to start thinking about it soon. Oh, that is Cody Wassum in. All right. So now we see, how does the battle for the lead, the effective lead, shake out? As I'm going to look back to find... Where's Josh Willis? Stupid thing bouncing around. As Josh Willis, all right, we're here looking at him as he comes through the second to last corner. Now through the final corner. Cody Wassum is still sitting in his box. He is rolling now off the pit limiter through turn 1. And there's Josh exiting turn 1. Now, how is this going to play out? Clearly, Cody has had a good run through the pits, potentially some cleaner traffic. Josh might have had, definitely was going to be quicker up the hill and is closing on the brakes as Cody has to account for the GT4 Mustang. Now, does Josh have the pace to get by and reclaim that lead? So the question becomes, did Cody take it tight on fuel, or was he just faster on the in and out pace? There are so many things that it's hard to tell, you know, how did he get by, and how is that going to play out for the rest of the race? Because if he took it risky on fuel and has to fuel save, and Josh is good, that could easily work out to Josh's advantage. But we will see. So into the pits comes Mike Pico, as well as Morgan Stringer. Colin Johnson still out there, as is Frederick Goupel. Clearly deciding that they want to be on the back side of the pit window as opposed to the front side, which is absolutely a strategy. You know, you finding what works best for you in terms of, hey, there's traffic in front of me, now's the time to pit. Or maybe, you know, you want to try the undercut, the overcut, whatever it is. Trying to be varied is the important part. There is a little bit of damage on the front of that Audi. I'm not sure when that got picked up, but he's going to want to fix that on the pit stop, I think. Like I said, there is a fast repair, so that'll be good to be able to take advantage of at least. You know, that damage shouldn't affect him for his second stint. So we look back now at the battle for what I believe should be the effective lead. These are the first two cars that have pitted. Ooh, I do actually have a little pit time thing here, and it does say that Cody had like a 1.5 second advantage in the pits. That wasn't the full gap that the lead was prior, but it definitely helped. As I take that hydrate, because clearly I need it. Whew. Through turn one they go. Ooh. Now Cody Wassum has a bit of a moment over the sausage curb. He pushed wide, and that's going to upset that McLaren a little bit. Josh Willis is right there on his tailpipes now, moves to the left as Wassum takes the somewhat defensive line. Josh looking around the outside. Can he make it work? He gets the better exit as Cody was on the inside. It picks up a tire. Josh is through. What a move. Round the outside through turn 3. Excellent job. Can he make it stick, though? That's the question now. He did have the pace, but his work isn't done yet. That was a very nice move to hold it around the outside. Hold Cody super close in there, and when you get super tight on turn 3, the tires can get a little funky because it's such an uneven space. So we look as now Frederick Goupel is also in the pits. Maybe isn't taking care of that damage. I don't see it being fixed currently. We'll have to see where he's going to shake out as Josh and Cody come through the final corner. He is still stationary. He's showing to me as having lost a lap. I'm wondering what's going on there. We'll have to see. Oh. Tyler Smith clearly has made good. Oh, as he is going for the overtake on Patrick Rich. Got a better run through the final corner. Is now he is clear into turn 1. Very nicely done indeed. Oh, but then spins off the curb on exit. Oh no, that's a bit of a commentator's curse there. You hate to see that. It's Colin Johnson now third place. Pretty much after pits at this stage. Yeah, Frederick Goupel is still showing in the pits for me. Moving now. Not sure what happened. It's a little strange. However, none of our as I say that, in comes Jacob Cunningham, the first car to pit of the GT4 lead battle. comes to a stop in his box. Is on continued Chris McNichol and William Campbell. Still fairly close together. Is up to 4. Okay. So he's 4th. He's the first of the pitters currently, not counting Jacob, who I wouldn't count until he comes out. With just 19 minutes, actually 18 minutes and a bit to go, definitely going to be getting close to the point at which these GT4s are going to have to pit. They're going to have no choice anymore. It's Jacob Cunningham exiting the pits. Look ahead, see who else is out there, and this is the fun little pack we've got going on. Oh, as behind, Declan Fu is going for the over. Oh, Leo Planco's down a lap. Never mind. Thought that looked like an overtake for position, but not quite. As it looks like through his he's struggling a bit early, but Jake Kaminsky's is up a couple places now, up to 16th. As this battle is not over with, Cody Wassam now looking at the back of that Porsche, hungry to get back through. However, Josh, confident into that braking zone that he is not under threat, takes the wide line, does not defend. Although given the way he made the outside work last time, I'm not sure I would bother defending at that point. Potentially the outside works better for him. Down into turn 4, a little bit of GT4 traffic coming, although he stays wide, and that was a little tight. Not too bad, but definitely not comfortable. As up ahead, they have Austin Pitts, who is down a lap to them, or, well, is about to be. Josh flashing the lights, letting him know he wants by, and he wants by quickly. Should have had this on. See the leaders heading through the final corner once again. On to their 29th lap. What's this? Alright, so GT4, we've all pitted now, and it looks like Jacob Cunningham has gotten back through on William Campbell, as there is a potential battle going on behind in GT. Oh, that did not look fun. Oh, no. What did we have there? As Brad, looking for the outside, makes a little bit of a mistake into the grass and wipes out the Corvette. Hate to see it go down like that. Back alive. As Brad comes back into the pits to repair some damage from that incident. Back up front. Battle for the lead rages on. I think this is what Cody Wassam expected from that first stint, to be battling for this, but really got held up in other issues and didn't let him fight the way I think he was possibly could have. This is great that we have lead battles in both classes. Well, it is a little challenging to try and figure out which one to be looking at, but we'll survive here. As these two effectively powered by pretty much the same engine. The Aston Martin does have the same 4-liter twin-turbo V8 from Mercedes that the Mercedes behind has. As through goes the 98 of Tyler Smith. Yes. A lot of curb there for Cunningham. Back at the front. Looking at taking alternate lines through these corners, trying to find any little bit that they can. Here, let's try. So we're on board here with Cody Wassum looking at the back of Josh Willis. Let's see how they go for this lap. Heading up to turn 1, getting up to 5th gear. Turn in nicely, both get a little bit of curb. That's not going to really help them, but they both did it. Now picking up the draft, heading up the hill. Don't quite reach 6th gear. Josh turns in a little earlier than Cody does for that corner, but both seem to make it work about the same. You know, I wouldn't say there's really any major change between the two. Cody closes up a little bit through turn 4. Showing the nose a bit into 5, although definitely not going to actually go for that. Entirely too far back. Little tighter through 7, 8, 9? I think 8 into 9. So then I believe this is 10. Second to last corner. Both run a little wide, nothing terrible. Through the final corner, 11. Again, both somewhat wide, but you can kind of get away with that. And it looks like on that lap, Josh pulled a little bit of time, pulled about a 1/10 of a second, so, you know, small, but nothing to sneeze at. But also really nothing in between it right now with these two. So we're now on board with William Campbell behind Jacob Cunningham. Much more open looking cockpit, I will say. Goes around the outside, goes a McLaren. Dives up the inside of Jacob Cunningham. Definitely to the advantage of William here, but not quite close enough to really take advantage. And on we go. Let's see, who else might be a little close right now? Chris McNichols really dropped back from these two through the pit cycle. I'm not sure if he maybe took tires that the other two didn't. Not sure. It's really wide there for Josh. Probably just taking advantage of the fact that, or advantage, probably just taking the fact that he had such a shallow entry into the corner and having to just compensate for that. As these two are right on top of each other. As there's Wassum moving to the right. Josh is now defending. Let's get back to a useful camera view. Now this is the reverse of what got Josh the lead. Does Cody make it work? He does. Ooh, okay. I don't know that I'd go for the defensive line through there, but we will see. That was a very, very, very nicely done overtake. Good job staying close through turn 1 without contact and then making the move up into 3. and very quickly pulls out a 8/10 gap. So who knows, maybe Cody does actually have the pace over who is the current defending champion of this series in GT3 and Josh Willis. I meant to mention that, did not. As we also have Jacob Cunningham, who is the defending GT4 champion, leading in GT4. So both of the defending champions starting their championship defenses pretty well to this point, as there's 8 minutes to go in this race, so we're getting down there. Now, neither of them look comfortable at the moment, but they're definitely in good position. So actually, we're going to just, for funsies, we're going to try that gearbox cam again. Look at that Porsche get close through turn 3. As Josh back there staying in the draft, getting out as wide as possible to open up the entry into the corner to try and carry as much speed as possible. A little bit different entries there on how to get wider, but both make it work. Use as much curb as possible through there. Cody using a bit more curb on the inside than the Porsche, gaining a little time as a result. Solid runs through the final corner for both of them, as Josh will now be feeling the effect of the draft, picking up speed down the front straight. Extend the entry through 1 a little bit, best as you can. Try and use as much road as possible through there, and now climb the hill back up to 3 again. Like I said, these are short laps. This is going quickly. But now I think Cody's probably just going to stay on the outside. If I were him, given the way it's gone the last 2 times. Oh, and I am in the wrong camera to have seen that. Oh, oh no. Oh, that was such a good battle they had going, as we're going to go back and see what happened there. Oh no. Cody just spins the tires a little bit, getting a little bit out of the groove behind the GT4, and Josh is so close it just doesn't have time to react. That's an unfortunate way for that to go down, as he's now down to 4th, and Colin Johnson's there to pick up the pieces, and actually has himself gotten fairly close to Josh Willis through all this. I guess some of that battling really was bringing him back. So now 3rd place is Bronson Turner, with Josh close, with Cody close though, and 5 minutes to go. That I wouldn't be so sure that podium is safe yet. Check back in with those GT4s, and well, we're kind of right there. As now Jacob Cunningham's pulled a little bit of a gap to William Campbell. He's got about a second and a quarter there to go. So opening that gap a little bit is actually Chris McNichol's now about 20 seconds back from the lead in 3rd place, but that is your GT4 podium. Let's see, is there anybody else thinking about anything? Looking relatively spread out. Frederick Goupil down in 12th place. An unfortunate place to be after a good start to his race. Corey Fortner running strongly in 11th. Mike Pico currently with a solid 5th place. He is currently your fastest car. He's currently your fastest car that of the group that have stepped up from GT4 to GT3. Be something to keep an eye on throughout the season, see how that all shakes out. So he's coming up to lap one of the GT4 Mustangs, and then Brad Sievers after that. Those Mustangs do sound good. So we head forward to see Bronson Turner to help just sticking behind Jacob Cunningham, not really looking to make any kind of move through there, but that is going to let Cody Wassum get a little closer as we are getting down there. But now Cody does have 2 GT4s to get through, which is not a small task. Oh, 3 wide. Ooh. They make it work as Jacob Cunningham is lapping another GT4 in class, and Cody says, thank you, I need to get through now, and makes it happen. So Josh comes through, probably 2 laps to go at this stage, given the timing. Oh, it looks like Frederick Goupil just exiting the pits there. Potentially had a drive through. I had to hazard a guess. Patrick Rich is very strong, plus 11 places up to 8th place. It's a very good showing. Let's see, where are GT4? Colin Johnson is closing. Now it's not, I don't think it's going to be enough at this point. I think we're going to be out of time before he's got a chance to do anything, but he is closing in on Josh. As Josh comes through the final corner and on to the... Yep, there is the white flag. 1 lap to go for Josh Willis. Can he hold on to the overall victory? And behind him, as a little flash of the lights for Jacob Cunningham on Brad Sievers. Just to... they're friends, just to mess with them. As he also is through the final corner and on to the beginning of his final lap. Can he hold on to first? Ahead we go as, ooh, Josh Willis does have some GT3 traffic here that did hold him up a little bit there. Lots of flashing lights from multiple sources. Guess that GT3 is flashing the GT4, letting him know he's coming from a bit far back, but that is his prerogative. Although he should hopefully look behind him to see the lead battle coming rapidly towards him. This is going to be pretty close now. Oh no! Trying to deal with the lap traffic, and Colin Johnson gets into the side of Josh Willis. But that's it, he's through. Josh Willis leads most of this race, but is not going to get the chance to close it out. Colin Johnson crosses the line for the win. What a dramatic final lap as Josh Willis comes home 2nd place. Oh, he is not going to be happy about that. Bronson Turner's going to complete the podium in third for the GT3s, and Cody Wassam crosses the line in fourth behind that. There's going to be a number of unhappy people in that on those podiums, but GT4 on the other hand, all smiles for Jacob Cunningham. Strong performance throughout the race in that magenta Aston Martin. Well done. Second place goes to William Campbell and Chris McNichol, rounding the final corner in third to pick up the final podium place of the race for both classes. Flash of the lights behind as Patrick Rich crosses the line. He's plus 11 spots in 8th place. Flash of the lights there. What a race. Wow, there was so much happening there. Absolutely wild stuff there at the end of the race. Fortunately, a little bit of contact, a little bit more than we wanted to see, but whew. We'll see how it sounds when we bring them in to interview them in our here post-race. Let's see who we've got to grab in the green room. So far, just the one of them. Give them all a second to hop in. But yeah, what a race. That was intense all the way through for so many people. Lots of action, as I expected. Tight quarters all around. Just waiting to one or two more of them to hop in. Alrighty, well, we can get going. Move to... This should be easier than it is. Why? There we go. As we are just moving over the individuals to interview those podium finishers. Welcome all. Congratulations on your podiums to start off the season right. Well done all. How are we feeling? How are we doing?
First, I'm gonna have to fire my car chief.
Yeah, I saw you. I saw you lost a little bit of time there. Well, let's just go reverse order for all of the finishers. So let's start with Chris McNichol, third place in GT4. Looked like you were in the battle in the first stint and then fell off a little bit in the second.
Yeah, did you know if you press the toggle tires button for crew chief twice, they turn back on?
Well, it kind of makes sense, but didn't have direct experience with that. So you weren't planning on tires and then ended up taking them, I take it.
Yeah, pretty much. I think I was at like 78% at the pit, and I figured I could nurse them home and around 49-50% at the end, which is just about when the fronts fall off in the 718. But unfortunately, I forgot that I had already taken care of that and pressed the button again.
Oh, so not only... Oh, yep. Okay. Yeah, that'll do it. Well, at least you had fresh ones at the end and didn't have to worry about it. William Campbell, very nice second place. Looked like you had some back and forth with Jacob, got some overtakes and got overtaken. How was your race?
It wasn't too bad. Front stint was definitely just kind of staying with them. I knew I had to save a little bit of fuel just so I could maybe do something in the pit stop. So did a little bit at the start, but after that, it was kind of just push and push once I had the opportunity with lap traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And the last stint, though, I was running a little bit extra front toe to give me more turn in, and it just cooked the tires, so I didn't really have too much turn in, so he started pulling away from me. But outside of that, my goal this season was kind of stay towards the front and put a little bit of pressure on him. I didn't know how much pressure I was going to have, but I'm hoping, I'm at least happy it was a close race.
Yeah, it looked good. It looked like some enjoyable battles, some enjoyable stuff going on. Jacob Cunningham, congrats on your first win of the season. How was your race? How were your GT3 interactions?
Well, got a couple of 0 to 4Xs pretty early on in the race, so I wasn't able to really push track limits at all during it, so just had to watch behind with the pace William had here. That was pretty tough to make sure I nailed every corner exit, but it was really fun racing with him. Took right sides on the pit stop to try and help my car in the middle sector a little bit, and it seemed to work a little. But,
so you were struggling more with rights than lefts.
Yeah, I looked at my tire wear after practice, did a fuel stint, and I noticed that despite the fact that there's only 2 left turns on the track, I was wearing my rights more, which is interesting.
Fascinating. I would not have expected that, but hey, if that's what you needed to work, and it worked for you, there you go. So on we move to GT3. So starting in, again, reverse order, Bronson Turner, congratulations on your 3rd place. How was your race?
Yeah, race was a little bit boring, to be honest. I was kind of just in a weird pocket, and I mean, the fact that I'm even on the podium is a gimme, so I'll take it for sure. But yeah, I'm interested to go back and watch the replay and see what took place up ahead, because it must have been pretty gnarly up there. But yeah, super exciting to see that there were some good battles ahead. I was kind of just in that pocket, and then came around, I believe it was turn 4, and saw that Cody was off to the side. So, you know, we'll take the 3rd, but definitely wasn't our best showing today.
Yeah, well, you got to be there. You got to stay close enough to be in it if the mistakes happen, and that's where you ended up. So well done. Congratulations. Okay. Josh, 2nd place. Sure not where you were looking to be at this point, but strong race overall, strong pace. How was it?
Oh, I mean, it was a great race. I'm just feeling pretty dejected there. I mean, last lap, all got thrown away. So, this is what it is. It was fun though. Good qualifying, good race, fun racing with Cody that whole race. You know, he got me in the pits. I pit early, try to beat some traffic, but I really didn't think it mattered. But yeah, I had the pace here, but just couldn't get it. It is what it is.
Yep, unfortunately those things do happen sometimes. But overall, strong race, well done. And to our winner in GT3, Colin Johnson. How was your race? How was your close-up?
Yeah, I mean the finish was obviously a bit interesting. It's a little bittersweet because of that. You know, it's not how I like to conduct myself, not how I want anything to happen, and it's just an unfortunate situation with some lap traffic in GT3 as well as some lap traffic in GT4, and a lot of things kind of came to a crescendo all at once, and I definitely hit Josh on the rear corner there, so. Yeah, apologies on that end, and, you know, not how I wanted it to end, so.
Yeah, unfortunately, as you were saying, it did look like there was quite a pocket of cars all going on with, as you said, cars a lap down in class, and then GT4s as well does really make it tricky to manage those situations. So, you know, do your best. That's how things go sometimes. But congratulations on getting your first win of the season. Congrats to all the podium finishers on a very well-run race for race 1. Stayed close for a long time. Really good battles. It was really enjoyable to watch everybody running real close up front. And yeah, we will see everybody again in a week. We'll be at Daytona. Less rain this time, so nobody yell at me. There will be less rain. And, get some good prep in for the Daytona 24 for those of you who need it. But yeah, so everybody have a good night, and we'll see you next week.